We're back on with Kevin and Sam's podcast. Today we are talking about Asian parenting. Whew, an interesting topic. I mean, it's actually pretty boring for me, but just my experiences are pretty tame. Others will probably say otherwise for their own personal experiences.
Mine's pretty tame too, actually. But maybe we can talk about a little bit about our friends too. We'll keep it anonymous with the names, but yeah, we can also have some pretty funny stories. Yeah.
Let's
I guess we can talk about the stereotype about Asian parenting, and then I guess we can go into our own experience.
Have you heard of the book Battle Hymn of the Tiger Mother?
I know Tiger Mother, but I don't know about the Battle Hymn.
It was it made famous the idea of the Tiger Mom.
Oh really?
Talked about a tiger mom who she was crazy. Trying to push her kids her two daughters to be successful. It was actually it was a New York Times bestseller, I think. I remember reading it and just thinking this is crazy. I was not paid to endorse this book. It was 2012, but yeah, all the
sponsor us though.
Honestly,
I'm just kidding.
Battle Hymn of the Tiger Mother, 2011.
Interesting.
Yeah, Amy Chua. She popularized the concept of the Tiger Mother.
Show them the book.
Yes, it has its own Wikipedia article. But yeah, not that really helped. Focus. Yeah. Anyways, it just talked about all this bad stereotypes about Asian parents and Asian their drive and their motivation and their ambitions for wanting successful children or wanting the children to be successful, really taken to over the top proportions.
So what did that look like? Within the book.
Within the book, it was just really unreasonable, extremely strict about everything, very regimented life, forcing them tutors, academic. Just everything was regimented, everything was extremely strict. No, just everything was controlled, down to the friends and how much time they spend with friends, everything. To not sound like fun. It's an extreme end. For me, really, going to our personal experiences. Personally, my parents were just always sure to how school, high school, middle school split into quarters.
Mm-hmm.
Every quarter, I'd show them my report card, and if it was good, they're cool, keep doing what you're doing. If it was not cool, if it's down to a B plus or a grade, they'd be step it
B
up.
Plus.
And then if next quarter, if it still didn't step up, then they're you really have to step it up. Start applying some pressure. Leveraging a little bit of threats if you don't do this, then you're not getting a smartphone next year, and all those things.
Oh, shoot. It's a punishment.
Yeah, but basically the threat of getting my gaming laptop taken away was usually enough to make sure that I kept my threshold.
Okay.
It wasn't that bad, and then everything else, they were just they emphasized independence. They made me do chores, wash the dishes, do the laundry, and all that. Housework was a big thing. Make sure I did all that. I'm sure they're happy to sit back and but that's a good thing. I really appreciate that they did that because I'm pretty independent about that. Everything from my taxes to paperwork to registering for things, everything they were you should do this, because it's your activity. Start from middle school, high school. So I filed all my taxes. I really appreciate they did that. There was definitely a learning curve to it, but here I am. I'm independent. I appreciate that. Thank you, Mom and Dad. Thank you, Mom.
Nice. I think in my own personal experience, I can also vouch for the idea of independence. I think with my family, how they went about with me was that I think their main role was to just provide me with a lot of opportunities and just provide me with opportunities to really just grow and just explore what the world has to offer and see what kind of gifts can I really just that I may have in this world that I can really hone in on and really sharpen and focus. But during that time, it was never their purpose was to help me find that. It was mostly just provide Kevin with as many opportunities as possible and see where he goes from there. And I guess during that time, I was able I was very fortunate for that. I'm taking a little bit of a different perspective from what you're talking about. Just because in terms of I guess my aspirations, I am becoming I do want to. I have a desire to become a physician, and that's very the stereotypical.
Doctor.
It's a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer and whatnot, and I fall under that stereotype. But then I talk to them, and I wonder if they indirectly at all, and I've talked to them about that, and whether they have maybe passively have told me or kind of influence me in that way. But like they told me like no, Kevin, like we try to give you as much opportunity as possible, and just if you happen to like something, it's within reason, and you can support yourself through that. Go for it. And like I guess like fortunately enough for me, I was able to find that path.
Mm.
And it is gonna be a hard road, but like I know like at the end of the day, it is worth it. Not only for like meaningfulness in my life, but also like the financial freedom.
So you kind of like basically drifted towards the doctor, like pursuing pre-med, like medicine essentially, because you were like you found yourself being very good at like the sciences and
It was
like,
mainly that, and then also just like I like very like superficially, I really like House, like the TV series House, and I like the idea of like being kind of like that Doctor Sherlock Holmes type of.
walks in like you.
Yeah, and they have like little brain blast moments, and just like, oh, I could piece the puzzle together, and oh, now I know what this patient has, and now I can cure this patient.
I see.
You
That's
know,
cool. I mean, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Like that's turned into a lifelong career, maybe.
I mean,
Yeah.
I can go into like my medicine part later, but like I don't want to talk about that.
Right,
That's like
this is-
it's very long, but then like that's like when I was young, that was like what drew me into medicine. Like very like I guess like not a callous at all, but like that's how it initiated.
I see.
That's how it kind of upstarted.
Yeah.
But also just in terms of like the idea of like independence again, like with my parents, along with like providing me with just like opportunities, they also really took a step back and just let me do my own thing. They of course they during like when I was young, they definitely provided me with the principles of like knowing what's good and right, what's like right and wrong, and like understanding like the ideas of like just like not lying and like what it means to like put family in high value. That was like a big thing within in Asian culture actually, just in general, but also just like really just taking the step back and just giving me the independence that they allowed me to have. And I know like with like a lot of like people, with a lot of my friends actually who had like parents that were very much like Tiger Mom esque. They were very much micromanaged a lot, and they were always like where are you here? Where are you there? Why you're not home? It's like all that. But then my parents, they did want to like know that information, but they did it for my safety. And I always let them know. I was very transparent with my parents. I always let them know where I am and just what I was doing. And like I have nothing to hide.
Were they ever strict about sleepovers?
Oh wait, that is one thing.
Yo, okay.
No, but that's like a different story though. But I can explain at least my portion. The reason why they don't like sleepovers, I haven't had a sleepover since, or I haven't. My first sleepover was I think it was like senior year of high school.
That was your first sleepover?
Yeah, I got like invited like a bunch of times, but just my parents just didn't let
Sit!
me. But the thing was, their reasoning was that they don't know
The parents.
the parents. Yes, they don't know the parents well enough, and they think that they're like rapists. Wait, really?
Dude, I swear, I swear, like it's like
Asian culture 101.
It's like you could probably call someone up right now, FaceTime them right now, ask them, "Did your parents ever think about sleepovers?" They'd probably say the exact same thing.
But the thing is, I had like Asian friends, and like I got invited to their houses.
Bro, I don't know about that, but my mom was like, "I don't know the parents. I don't know the other kids. No." And I'd be like,
that's like the
crying
case
in the corner, like, "Please, mom." No.
That's even the case for like play dates too. We used to have
They were
like
so
that.
strict. They're like, "Who's the mom?
Who's
that?"
Yeah, it's like you don't know what will happen.
Yeah, what happened to you? I'm like, but it's Johnny.
I do remember those moments, and like literally, like during the time of the actual event, it's literally just like us playing video games, eating food, drinking like Yakult. And it was like a wholesome time, like we were like middle school.
Why mom? Sorry.
For all the moms and Asian moms and dads out there,
Who
for
knows?
the most part, they're safe.
Maybe when I'm a parent,
I don't
I'll
know.
do the exact
Yeah,
same
I'm
thing.
pretty sure we maybe. But then like I guess like for the most part, I definitely had to thank my parents for like how they parented me. They definitely gave me the independence and just like allowed me to really just be there to not only provide me with opportunities, but also like once I started to hone in on like what I wanted, to just support me full heartedly through that. I mean, but I guess it was easy for me just because like what kind of, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, what kind of like I would definitely, if I was a parent, I would definitely support a child that wants to be a doctor. I'll speak on my behalf maybe like after med school and after all the training, and I'll say maybe I'll have a different perspective, but as of right now, I think it was like definitely easy for them to support me. But then definitely like if it wasn't for like the principles that they gave me of just like I think the main principles that my parents gave me were not to lie, um, live life with balance. I told you this multiple times. Um, definitely like the idea of just like spending time and like finding an occupation and just finding satisfaction in the passions that you're going for, that the passions that you have, and really just bringing that into fruition and seeing where that goes. Again, I am very lucky that I do want to be in an occupation where that's something that is kind of like well favored.
Stable and yeah.
Yeah, and I guess mainly just like the idea of like not micromanaging and instead macromanaging me and just like
Yeah,
like the
keeping
progress
that
reports. I
general
definitely was the
vision
same way.
straight.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
for
yeah.
example, there was probably a small period of time when I was in 10th grade that I wanted to go to community college and become a professional gamer. My mom was
Whoa.
like, "Hell no." And back then I was like, "But mom, college doesn't matter." Now I'm like, "Thank you." Like, honestly, this could have been a very different story. This could have been I could have been like gaming and not having a good time. Yeah, I was but yeah. Look, high schoolers are stupid. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, yeah. I think values wise, everyone for the most part, everyone appreciates their parents. I think the whole sort of independence is different for everybody on a case by case basis. I am just generally also I'd like to be an independent person. I like my own space. I just like having my own
Right.
whatnot. So it kind of fit in well to who I was. Um,
Wait, what other values like resonated within you that your parents like kind of taught you and like translated towards you?
Specifically, I mean, my mom and dad are actually two very different people, so I got very different values from both of them. I think like mom.
You can
was
elaborate on
something
that if you want.
Yeah, it's like empathy and treating people with respect,
Of course.
and that goes both ways for me.
I was gonna say that too. I was
I
gonna
think a
add on
very
to
big. I
that.
have a baseline of like, for some reason, not everyone had this. I realize not everyone had this in college.
The what?
Um, treating just everybody, regardless if they're a stranger or not, with just like a baseline level of dignity. Even if like you don't like them, unless they're doing something to actively provoke you in that given moment, you treat everybody with just like a certain baseline level of niceness. That doesn't mean
That's
you have
hard
to be,
though. You know what I'm
it's
saying?
hard, but like it doesn't mean you have to be super nice to everybody, but you're just like cordial. Like some people are like willing to be just mean to people that they don't like just outright. Like they're willing to be hostile. But like I'm only hostile when it's provoked in that instance. And that's always like, and I just find like the idea of like respect. Maybe that's all. Yeah, that's from like my mom too. The idea of like it's just not a considerate thing, which is why it's
Yeah.
like when I feel like someone's like trying to put me down or it's not respectful to me, like unless
Mhm.
in the context of like pure normal equal, I don't appreciate that, and I make it very clear. I'm like, hey, like this is not acceptable. I don't. Why are you like disrespecting me like this?
I mean, I fully agree too, and definitely I am also in that way. But I can also see like people from like I can like understand people from the other side where they do have these kind of like I guess like kind of like preconceived notions type of idea where they have kind of like because of their like past luggage per se with like experiences with some certain people from like a certain race per se that can like lead to like overgeneralizations and like kind of leads to like prejudice and stereotyping and
Yeah.
discrimination.
I don't know. Sometimes it's not even like
I try not. I think we all try not to do that, but it may
Yeah.
like come off passively.
And I think it has a lot more to do with like from in my experience, like where I've seen it, it's like when you just like don't have when some people when they don't have a good opinion of someone, they're just like shit out mean to them.
Yeah, I
Every
mean, I
time they
think that's
interact
like
with them,
biased too. It can
that's
be
like
like
a but like it's like I guess to them it's like being transparent with their emotions.
that is true.
But to
'Cause
me, I'm like no, like you're not. That's not right.
actually, the thing is though too. Oh, that's like a actually a pretty good topic. Like because I
Emotional
am definitely
transparency.
yeah, because I'm definitely the type of person where no matter what I know about you, whether it's good or bad, at the present moment that I'm with you,
I'll be nice with you.
I will
Same,
always be nice.
same. All right, you know
Even
what?
if you were like you did bad to certain people, even if you're like a straight up like a killer or something like that, I would still treat you like a nice person. I don't know if that's like self defense, like
I don't know about kill. I've never met a killer, so I don't know. But like I know what you
same,
mean.
but
Wait,
yeah,
we're
yeah.
gonna pivot this from parenting to like emotional transparency. 'Cause I think it's a very important, interesting topic. Yeah, I agree. I think like even if I am upset with you, like unless I'm really upset with you and like something happened, like in that moment, usually I cool down quickly. But like if
Mm-hmm.
something happened a couple days ago and there's like a clear problem, either like I'll just like like I will get over it very quickly and just be cordial and normal.
Uh-huh.
You
Uh-huh.
know, that may not necessarily reflect how I feel inside, but I think like it's not good to let your internal emotions affect your external actions in
Mm.
negative ways. That's just not. That reflects a degree of you not having control of yourself. You know?
I think that also that makes sense, and you're also taking account of like how other people,
Right.
how their feelings are too.
Circumstances.
Right.
Yeah.
So because most of our video is about Asian parenting, I'll connect that to like I think it's also true within just like within how my parents grew up also. Maybe it's like the deal with the idea where like let's say if issues come up, they push things under the rug and pretend everything's normal. Because I like that's also like not like an Asian parenting thing for like a parenting type of thing, but it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely like Asian cultural value that not even a value. It's kind of just like a tendency that at least a lot of people that I know that are Asian and also like within my family that they have like a tendency to push things under a rug sometimes.
Just sweep it and
Yeah, sweep it under the rug and just like just let that boil down. I've like learned to like grow away from that.
it's
And
probably not as healthy.
right at the end of the day, those things can definitely boil up, and you don't know how it may like erupt. Right, it can explode like very like we don't even know what kind of consequences it can like lead to. I'm definitely the type of person where I learned that when those things happen, when fights happen, it's not best to put it under a rug. And it's really the best thing to do is to really just resolve the issue right at hand. Sometimes if people
Sure.
need to, take like a breather, take a little break, take like a day break, or just like sleep it off. I've learned to also be very considerate of that and just let that happen. But there should always
The very
be like
best.
a destination to like okay, let's take a little bit of a break and just give ourselves a breather so we're not hot headed, but let's talk tomorrow morning or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you agree with like the pushing under the rug type of deal?
I
Or were your parents like let's say they get in a fight or that you got in a fight with them that you guys wouldn't do that and you guys would really hash it out?
I don't know about hashing it out, but like it definitely came up pretty quickly for us.
Me and
To
my
my,
came up.
I just like things weren't swept under the rug.
So that you were able to like resolve it, like hash it out.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe not always in a constructive manner. You get my gist. But yeah,
Oh yeah.
generally, yeah. Like
Yeah,
we
okay,
always
okay.
like it was an issue was always confronted there. I think that I guess reflects in who I am with my style of conflict management is as soon as something goes down with like let's say another person, let's say me and some of like things something happens. In general, I will afterwards always go and try to resolve it for most things. There are always rare exceptions, but like yeah, um,
I think
I'm
like
always willing to like cool down, just come to the table and just come to an agreement on things.
that's good. That's good
Yeah.
for sure. I think like we're a bit of like I guess like us two, we're like a bit of a rarity in terms of I guess how we grew up. Because I think our parents, at least in my experience, my family has spent a lot of. I think they really got. This is like a term called cultural diffusion, where it's the idea that like you start to obtain a little bit of like the cultural values of the place that you're staying in.
Mm.
My parents were like they originated from Philippines and they immigrated here, and I think during that time they really took in the American values. And how I can elaborate with that too is, um, like the thing like I will go into the spiel about like with like my sister. I have a sister and we're basically twins. I won't go into the whole story. I'll go into that some other time. But basically, she lives with my aunt currently at the moment in the Philippines, and like how I was parented versus how she was parented was very very different. I talked about like how um, like my parents raised me, and then how I think because of like the cultural diffusion, they were able to really take in some of the American values of just like giving independence and like
Mm.
I mean respect is like universal in my
Oh
opinion.
yeah.
But like the giving like independence and like really macro managing that was like a big thing. I think that was a big difference. And the thing is like with like my sister on the other hand with my aunt was like like what you said with like all the stereotypes in that book for like the tiger mom. she's literally basically like the epitome of a tiger mom.
Let me look up the stereotypes of tiger mom.
But basically, like it's just like a lot of micromanaging, a lot of complaining and nagging to your like to the child, and just telling them like
my mom did have
why
to push me for SATs and PSATs and SAT subject tests
really.
and college apps.
I had to push myself. I'm
And,
like I am trying to get
I
to
had
a
to
good
push
school.
myself too. It was not a good time.
But basically, just like being like kind of like Big Brother esque, like always
Hovering.
always hovering over you, and just like I'm watching your every move, and like I guess like how my sister responded to that was like she completely like kind of at times like rejected my like aunt, and to a point where sometimes like she values her like what it seems like sometimes she like values like her like her friends a lot more than like my aunt sometimes, which is like a little bit different for me, but it like kind of makes sense because at least what I'm understanding from my sister's point of view is that like she found a lot of comfort and support from a lot of her friends, and like
She didn't get that from her.
basically like the type of like love that she received from her friends is what she wanted, but then like kind of like that idea of like tough love that tiger moms give, it just never resonated well with my sister.
It should definitely be a balance. Growing up without affection, I think.
I think it is out of it. The thing is, like, what I realized with tough love, which I mean, my mom had it too, and she's kind of simmered down now. Thank the Lord. But basically, like, I always think at the back of my mind that like, whatever my parents are doing, it's always out of love. It's never out of hate. And I really want to go about that in my life too, and with everybody I interact with. But like, I think that's something that sometimes my sister fails to recognize at times. It's just that awareness of like, yeah, my aunt is like nagging at you, and yeah,
Still,
my
but
aunt
your
is
aunt still love.
yeah, but the aunt still like loves you.
This? Is this,
Again, we're very transparent, so it's fine. So don't
Gotcha.
worry. I've also had conversations with
Hello,
my
Ray's
mom.
family.
I had conversations with like all of them about this too.
Us.
So yeah, I think it's like a very valuable lesson to it's all about like around at least for here like I do want to be I want to be able to be open and vulnerable about conversations and about my like life too,
That's fair.
and some things can be left like unsaid, but also I think like there's some parts where like I think it can be and I believe that I told Sam this too, like also that the idea that like humans are very imperfect people. We're not perfect humans, we're not perfect at all, and I think it's just the idea that yes, we have imperfections, but what's important also is that how we respond back to that. And of course, I have also a lot of my own flaws, and I'll definitely talk about that at some point later on too. But I think like per se, like within my sister or even my aunt, there are also ways that they can improve, and I hope that they become more aware of this, and if they really do like love each other, that they can really respond and like communicate and work it out, and hash it out. So I guess like kind of to just like sum it up, I guess our experience in with Asian parenting, we're outliers in my opinion.
Two pretty chill parents. I think. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, of course, there were like my parents had higher academic standards than most. I'd say most
Too,
of my peers,
yeah.
but I think that's just a normal thing across the board. To the point where it just seems normal for me.
I think that's actually always the case though with like Asian. Like education is a high priority within Asians.
Agreed. So I don't think that's really something notable to talk about.
I think just like the idea, the value of like macromanaging versus micromanaging, the idea of like independence, valuing like family, valuing respect, sometimes like empathy. At least within my family too, living life in balance. Even though I didn't talk about that, that could be another topic within itself too. And really just like being honest and not like lying. I think those are like the main values within our like Asian parenting that we've experienced.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess like with like like sharing on behalf of my aunt and my sister's experience, you saw a little bit of like the other side where it's like a lot about like micromanaging and a lot of what was it? A little bit like nagging and just like kind of hovering and monitoring, and not to say that that's like a bad style. It really differs per person how like the child may respond, like how my sister responds. But then like at the end of the day, I think just to sum it up, I think whatever our parents are doing and whatever parenting styles that they go for, we hope that there's communication about this and that they're catering towards one another and really trying to meet each other halfway and make compromises. But also just at the end of the day, the idea that whatever they're doing out of love and they're doing it because they care about you. I think that's really really important. So I hope you enjoy our conversation.
Yeah.
This Life Happens podcast with Kevin and Sam.
Episode
Episode 3. And for the next one, we'll actually be having a guest.
Word.
So,
You'll figure that out.
yeah, please like and subscribe and comment. And yes, peace.
All right. Peace.